Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline, and if there's anything that isn't quite working for you or anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about practicing vipassana on our jhana attainments. Now, a common criticism often launched against jhana is that if we practice the jhanas, we will just become attached to that bliss and happiness. Now, this is a little bit of a misleading criticism because the bliss and the happiness of the jhanas is actually born of renunciation. It's born of renouncing attachments. So, to attain the jhanas, we renounce things like our attachment to the body, our attachment to thinking, our attachment to perceptions of diversity, these really big clunky things that we're attached to. But although there is less attachment in the jhanas, there is still a little bit of attachment remaining. It's much less attachment than if we had never practiced them in the first place, but there is still some very subtle attachment remaining. And so it's important that we also practice vipassana even on those refined states of the jhanas. So how do we do this in practice? Well, we want to start by entering the jhana, and we can take the jhanas one at a time. So as an example, we'll take the first jhana. We start by entering the first jhana. We want to stay in that jhana until we feel really satisfied with the quality. And then when we emerge, we want to discern the recent past, nama and rupa, and practice vipassana on that. Now, there are different ways that we can practice vipassana on that recent past, nama rupa. Firstly, we can practice vipassana on the whole, so on nama and rupa combined. In this case, it would be the mind moments and the mental factors that make up the jhana attainment, and the heart base that supports that nama, that mentality. We could also split it in two, so we could practice vipassana just on the nama, just on the mentality, and then we could practice vipassana just on the rupa, just on the heart base. We could also split it into the five khandhas, 5 aggregates, and practice vipassana on each of those 5 aggregates one by one. We could also practice vipassana on each mental factor one by one. So all of those 34 mental factors that arise in the first jhana, and all of the different types of materiality that make up the heart base. We can then repeat that process also for the second jhana, third jhana, all the way up to the 7th jhana. Now, I haven't included the 8th jhana because the 8th jhana is incredibly subtle. So when we practice vipassana on the 8th jhana, it's too subtle for us to practice vipassana on those mental factors one by one. Instead, we need to practice vipassana on the nama and the rupa, on the materiality and the mentality of the 8th jhana as a whole. So that's what I have to say today about practicing vipassana on those jhanas. It's a really important form of vipassana practice so that we can remove that last bit of remaining attachment that we have when we practice the jhanas. If there's anything that's unclear to you, anything that you're unsure about, then be in touch with me and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. But now is the time to get off of those screens, get onto the cushions, let's actually do some practice. There's a remainderless ending of all suffering, so let's not waste time, let's actually do the practice. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.